Selectmen's meeting for September 4th, 2018 to order. If you'd stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. So Sarah will be joining us tonight. She's just running a little bit behind, but she will be here. I'm going to chair in the meantime. When she comes, she'll take over. One thing I'd like to start out with, if we could, is everybody is welcome to ask questions and get answers to whatever they are. Just, I ask that it's done in a respectful manner. Ask respectfully, you'll get a respectful answer. And if we could keep it along those lines, then everything will be great, and we'll solve all of Rockport's problems probably tonight by 7:30. So we'll be in good shape. So let's go from here. So we're going to start out with the public comment period. Is there anybody for public comment? Toby?
Toby Arsenian, 95 Granite Street. I believe it was at the last meeting I spoke about my concerns about the town's emergency management plan. I've just been speaking with Mitch Vieira, who tells me that the plan is, hush-hush. Perhaps it's some bailiwick of Homeland Security. Anyway, the public is not to know about the plan. I think that that's a mistake, but that's the way it is, and we have to accept it. I've just come from voting across the way at the town hall annex, and was taken aback, not to say shocked, that there used to be voting booths, and you had some privacy. I don't care who knows who I voted for, or more, in this case, didn't vote for. I voted for Toby's dog Yarrow for representative, not for Ann Margaret for auntie. I don't care. But many people may care, and the voting ought to be private. And if we can't afford curtains for the voting booths, things have come to a sorry pass. Would you talk to the town clerk on the subject? I don't know who made this decision, but it was certainly an unfortunate one.
Thank you. Let's talk about first, because you were involved in the conversation as far as the emergency management. Can you
Sure, I can address both, Mr. Chair, if you'd like.
Please.
So as I indicated to a previous speaker, Mr. Chair, the comprehensive emergency management plan is not a public document. It is a inward-facing document meant for staff and officials to carry out and respond to emergencies. It basically it carries sensitive information about the municipality, about vulnerabilities and strengths, etc. So that's not something that's not a document that we share. We would consider that exempt under the public records law.
Does any other community do it the same way?
From my understanding, everybody treats that the same. That's a sensitive,
so
that's a
every
security
community in the
document.
Commonwealth treats it the same way.
I won't guarantee that, but that's the standard.
Okay.
Is that's a secure document that has sensitive information about the municipality and how we respond to issues. As I also indicated to a previous speaker, Lieutenant Schmink, at the request of the Board of Health, shared some general information about emergency management. He provided the exact same answer that I just provided, that that document is not something that we post on the website, etc. If there is information that is helpful and necessary to share with individuals, we share that out through all of our typical means. Website, for example, social media. The Emergency Management Director provided something that I put out on Facebook and Twitter a few weeks ago, I believe, about those who may want to seek FEMA reimbursement. So we do share information that's helpful and necessary through those means. Of course, individuals who don't have access to the technology, we certainly would provide an accommodation and provide that information upon request. So we believe we have the methods to share information as we need to. If there's proactive information, we always share that out. For example, as hurricane season approaches, we have general information we put out. As the winter sets in, we have information that we share, often from MEMA directly.
Is there a document that we have, Mitch, that provides protocols about notifications and things like that, avenues to take pre and post storm, or whatever the unfortunate incident may be, that the public does see? I mean, I understand about our side of it that we have.
It's all inclusive in that one document.
It is.
It is all inclusive in that, yes. So if there is information, for example, if there needs to be in a particular evacuation for say, a snowstorm, if there's an extended power outage. We would provide that information out in anticipation of it based on the information that we have at that time, because it could also vary. For example, as everyone knows, the shelter in town is Rockport High School. We aren't always able to activate that particular shelter. There may be some weather issues. Another actually very recent example, the cooling station in town, the typical one is the police station community room. Last week, when we shared out information when there was that regional power outage, as I'm sure you noticed, we didn't include that particular location because they have an issue with their compressors in their air conditioning unit. So if we push too much information out and people rely specifically on that, it may not end up being helpful for them. They would have shown up at the police station and been greeted by a bunch of sweaty individuals who were also trying to get through the heat because the AC wasn't working hard enough. So we provide the information out as necessary and as appropriate for that situation to be sure we're giving current information in that particular context. So that could include Facebook, Twitter, the website, reaching out to the Gloucester Times, Code Red if it's appropriate and necessary. So we believe that we carry out those functions as needed.
Yeah, I'll use Toby as the example. He asked the question. Toby is obviously somebody who doesn't partake of social media, things like that. So are you on Code Red, Toby?
I hope not. I don't want telephone calls.
Okay. So, I mean, there's nothing we can do at that point. So I'm trying to find the outreach for people who, no, because there are elderly in town who don't have that.
Absolutely.
So I just want to make sure we're reaching everybody that we can.
We do. We utilize those methods again. If there's something significant, we have the signboard that's out. Code Red is probably our best method to get directly to everybody, which is why we are so judicious in our use of it, so that people don't get annoyed by too many calls coming out. That truly is our most direct route to everyone. We're very prolific on social media and the websites as well as another method. And again, if somebody doesn't have access to that, if there's some information, for example, a previous speaker, I shared that we put information out online about some potential FEMA reimbursements for private entities based on the March storm. They just need to contact our office, and we can certainly work with them to make sure they get the information.
Good, thank you. What about voting booths?
So the voting booths, the town clerk, as everyone's aware, is responsible for the elections. Will certainly share that concern about the curtains for the booth. To my knowledge, that I believe there are curtains for some of them. I seem to recall the one in Town Hall used to have a curtain around it, but we'll certainly share that feedback with Mrs. Brown.
One second, Monica. Next door, where I just voted, it seems like we have quite a few. I don't know, this would be a product of the town workers who are manning the stations, but maybe we could repurpose one of those and bring that over. And if they're not, I mean, I know there's a rush in the morning and probably a rush at dinner time again, but are they all full, and can we maybe bring something over to accommodate that? Privacy issue.
I'll certainly speak with the clerk and share the concern and see what her thoughts are.
Good, thank you. Monica?
Just on that same issue on Martha Lawton on Stewart Street, I too was concerned about privacy, not just curtains around the booths, but some kind of privacy in submitting your ballot, which is face up for all the world to see. And I have concerns about that, especially in a somewhat small enclosed space like the town annex. If there is a line of people, everybody behind you is going to be able to see who you voted for, and that really takes away from the privacy of the voting booth.
Yep, good point. I mean, I don't know if we
Well,
can,
maybe you can, but people should be instructed to do that.
right, let's direct it up here, please. Yeah, I mean, maybe there's a way to hood the machine somehow, or I don't.
There are sleeves. I know that you can put your ballot in while you walk up, and you basically bring it to the machine, and it takes it in.
Can we
We'll
address
certainly
that with
share-
Pat also?
We'll share that suggestion with Pat as well.
That's great, thank you, thank you. Tom? If we, can we, I just want to try to get, I want to keep it, is that mic on, Tom? Is that
Yes,
green?
It's green. Tom
Okay,
Mika,
good.
73 Marmion. I had that question when I went to vote today at Precinct 3, and I asked if the tabulator can read it either side up, and they said, sure.
Oh, it can?
Flip it over.
Oh, beautiful, there's the answer to your question
Yeah,
then.
it is, but I didn't know that. That should be made common knowledge.
Good point, so let's see it, let's talk to Pat, confirm that, I'm sure it's correct, but let's confirm it and then present that as an option. That's great. Zenas?
Yes, Z Supple, 92 Granite Street. I hope this thing is working.
It is.
Good. Don, I would like to just ask that the selectmen consider at the start of their meetings, whenever they start using the word respectfully, I wish that you would change that to civilly. I find that it's possible to be civil to people that I don't respect, but it's impossible for me to respect people that I don't respect. I can be civil, and I think that's what you want, is civility. If you want respect, you have to earn respect. And I think it was just another case last week when Toby mentioned that he couldn't hear and he said, speak up, which is not the first time anybody has ever said speak up, but probably about the 50th time that people have said to speak up. So things like that indicate to me that if respect is wanted, respect should be given. And respect that is given means that you speak loudly and clearly enough so that people that come here to hear you can hear you. So again, I'll just say, I think that there's a differentiation to be made between being civil and being respectful, and that in some cases it's literally impossible to comply with what you ask. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I will, let me say for the record that my opening comments were mine and mine alone. So you referenced the board in general at the beginning of that comment. That wasn't the board. That was my comment. If anybody wants to jump onto that, they can. But that was my comment.
Yes, I don't mean to, I've got bowling tonight, so you're going to be able to
Okay.
get rid of me in
No, that's
very
okay.
short order,
That's all right. It's no problem.
which is a mutual pleasure.
Yeah, well, no, not necessarily.
But the truth of the matter is that when Toby brought that up the last meeting, Chairman Wilkinson said, speak respectfully, and
Actually,
you
no.
jumped in right there.
I did.
He did.
That was me that said that.
Look at the meeting, you'll hear it. the way it happened.
Zenas, I know what I said, and if you
I
look
know
at,
what I
I'm
heard.
not, Zenas, thank you. I'm not here to debate what I said to Toby. It's on video, people can see it for the record. My point is that if somebody speaks to us in a civil tone, I'll use your word, then they will get spoken to in exactly that same way. But when somebody speaks with vitriol in their voice and contempt, I'm sorry, but that doesn't lend itself to a clear debate of the facts back and forth.
Yeah. Well, I have to say that I think actions speak louder than words, and I'll just leave it at that for tonight.
I wish you well in bowling tonight.
Thanks.
Thanks, Zenas.
I'll dedicate a string to you.
There you go. Monica?
Monica Lawton, 11 Story Street. I'm just wondering if the Board of Selectmen has anything to add with respect to the situation with the tool company. Of course, there was a write-up in the Gloucester Times and the Gloucester Times does a good job in most instances, but cannot always be relied upon for accuracy. So I'd like to ask, was that an accurate report of the facts, and is there anything to add or correct?
Mitch, I'm gonna defer to Mitch because he's right on top of things.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So it was a generally accurate article, as is typical, generally accurate. We will have some additional information, we hope, tomorrow that we'll share with the newspaper and we'll share in one of our standard press releases. We're just waiting on a signed document to come back from the court system right now. We expect we'll have a more concrete update, we hope, by tomorrow morning.
Concrete update, bad choice of words.
Pardon the pun. Unintentional. Unintentional.
That's okay. So that's it. Does that answer it for you, Monica? A lot of it's sensitive information that can't be shared right away, so.
I was really interested to know, was the reporting accurate? Was there anything you could correct?
Generally speaking, it was right on.
There we go. Very good. All right, we good? Anybody else for public comment? Nope? Okay, let's move on. We're going to move on to the interview of Jeffrey Juveler. Thank you, for Juveler, as a member of the Building Study Committee. Is there a motion?
I think that's me, right?
No, that's Ruthie.
I move that the board nominate Jeffrey Juveler to a term on the Building Study Committee to expire on June 30th, 2019.
Second.
You've heard the motion, it's been seconded. Any further discussion? Great, come on up, join us, please.
Where would you like me to?
Whatever's more comfortable for you. You can stand or sit, whatever you'd prefer. There you go. Hi. All right, why don't you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and the credentials you have.
Can you hear me on this? So I've actually been coming to Cape Ann since I was a child. We're talking about the tool company right now. I used to ride my bike from Folly Cove to Sandy Bay when I was a young kid, when it was still working. And I remember the faces with the blackened from all inside working all day. It scared the crap out of me coming home, to put it bluntly. But I have a deep-seated love for Cape Ann. It goes beyond just those early days biking here in the summertime. My wife's family is from the Gloucester area, and we just finally moved up here permanently. 99 Marmion Way, I noticed everyone does that, so Jeffrey Jubiler, 99 Marmion Way. We're fortunate to be in this town. We're fortunate to be part of this community, and I want to offer up my sincere passion and my brain, and hopefully my patience, because I'm not used to public service like this, but it's okay. I'll be all right.
You'll be sitting up here in no time, don't worry about it.
My credentials are, I was born in New York City, and I moved out pretty quickly to be raised up in the farm countries of the Catskill Mountains, so I've known both types of communities. I know what it's like to be, let people accept you versus just trying to bowl them over. I've done that a few times in my life. I spent a lot of time in Westwood, Massachusetts, where my wife is from Dedham. I got my undergraduate degree at Syracuse, my business degree locally at Babson. I work now in Boston, and I have a passion for carpentry. I've done it all my life. I was a carpenter for a while. I had my carpenter's supervisor's license, among other things. I went through a period where I would get every license I could probably think of: real estate, carpentry, you name it. I had a passion for that for a long time. So I still like to keep my fingers in it, and if there's something that I think I could add to the community to start with, it's just an idea of this was a good place to get my feet wet, and that's what I want to do.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'll open it up. Anybody have questions?
So, have you had a chance to speak with Monica and the other gentleman who is on the? No. Okay. So.
No.
So.
No, I just saw his name on the agenda.
First of all, I think we now have a committee, or we have 4 people. 3 or 4. 5?
Oh,
Excellent.
wow.
Now, after this evening, there are 2 other individuals.
Oh, fantastic.
Nice.
So you'll actually have a real committee, which is great because this is a very important committee
Very.
and an urgent need on the part of the town to really do an overview and evaluate all of the buildings. So we're very grateful that you've stepped up and are really looking forward to the committee getting started.
Thank you. And I just want to let you know that I'm not here to try to do anything more than to offer some fresh perspective, but also some respect for what this town has been like for years, when I used to dance at the Rockport Art Association
I was there.
Me too.
to Smoke on the Water,
Yeah.
of all things. So,
Me too.
yeah, that goes back.
Those were good times.
That goes back a couple of years.
That's great. Well, thank you. Denise,
no.
anything else?
Any other
Ruthie?
questions?
Nope, welcome.
That's
Thank
it.
you very
Murph?
much. I look
Nope, I'm
forward
good.
to
Thank you.
this. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
your
Thank you.
service.
So our process is, just so you understand, I'm sorry, is that the interview happens tonight. We vote on it at the next meeting, which I plan on sitting in a seat. You should be all set.
Okay.
And we'll go from there.
All right, great.
All right.
And so someone will be in touch with me otherwise?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Probably
The
Mitch.
office will be in touch.
Mitch
Debbie
will be
and
in
my office
touch.
will be in touch.
Thank you for your willingness to step up.
Thank
We
you.
need people
Great.
like you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we have to close this motion, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you have heard everything. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0. Fantastic. Let's move on to the interview of Laura Kozacek, Christine Downing, and David Whitley as members of the Rockport Cultural Council.
Want a motion?
Please.
I move that the Board of
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt. All three of them are not here yet, so perhaps if the board
We'll
could
go to
consider holding the motion but doing the 2 interviews until the third person shows up.
You want to do the interview? Okay.
Yes, I just asked that if you could just hold the motion in case we have to modify it if the
Okay.
third person doesn't show. I'm sorry to interrupt.
So, no, please, I'm glad you did. That was well done. Sorry.
Christine
My daughter.
Downing and David Whitley are here, Mr. Chair.
That's great. Okay, we'll always go ladies first. Let me turn my phone off. I thought I already did. Try that one. We should be okay.
This one works.
There you go.
Okay.
That's perfect. That's, and Christine, right?
Christine Downing.
Christine, great. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
19 Parkers. Or, sorry. I'm fairly new to Rockport. What is it that you'd like to know? I mean,
Just a little bit about yourself, just so we can kind of get to know you for the millions at home that are watching on TV.
so I have a background in, I've spent my life mostly working in the arts. The relevant parts of my resume probably have to do with running and organizing nonprofits. I was a part of a lobby to lobby arts councils in 6 states to get money to independent film and video makers, which was successful. And from that, I was hired by the Ohio Arts Council to develop and direct the Media Arts Program, which was a new program for them. Started at about $115,000, and when I left, it was $325,000 a year. And I managed to get bridges built into practically every other arts discipline at the agency. That was one I've been a panelist for a number of state arts agencies and also the National Endowment for the Arts for 4 years. I was on their services to the field and also the organizational grants and also their challenge grant panel, which is their largest one. It's 21 million. But typically, media arts grants are significantly smaller than that. I did 2 funding studies. One was while I was at the Ohio Arts Council, and another one was later with funds from the NEA that came through the Mass Cultural Council, which was the Massachusetts Arts Council at the time. They published it. The first one was a study of funding, which took in the whole pie to say how much does media arts get of this whole pie, because I didn't have the data, could never speak to it. So I had to do the research in order to have that power tool. But that was 50 states and 6 territories, and I got a 100% result. It's the first study that was done like that. The next one that I did was another section of how do you fund media arts, which is through private funding. And that was a study of foundations that were family foundations, private foundations, and corporate foundations in Massachusetts. So I'm quite familiar with working with associated grants makers. That's one of the resources that's needed here, I think, for access. Let me see. There are a couple of things. I've done a lot of, one of the things that I think is probably useful is that I've done a lot of planning with nonprofit organizations and developing short and long range plans. And that sort of generalizes. Some of it really does just stick to the arts, but a fair amount of it really is something that's once you learn this kind of way of doing it, you can apply it to anything. That's I've also taught a lot of grants workshops, and part of the business of running a grants program is teaching people how to strengthen their proposals, so they're as clear as possible. I've taught at Antioch College. I think that probably is enough.
That's a
Anything else
lot.
you'd like to know?
Yes.
You hired?
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah, I've done a
Right?
number of things like most people in the arts. I've also been a waitress, and it's like life in the arts. Okay.
Your breadth of experience is definitely it meets the requirements. So thank you. That's especially in the grant writing side of things. I think that's impressive. I think that's great. And when you think about the arts, you tend to think about paintings and things like that, but you bring a whole different dimension to that, which I think is fantastic. So thank you for stepping up. I think that's great.
Very much.
I'll open it up.
Yeah.
Denise?
Yeah, I'm just curious to know if you're thinking that you want to focus on film and visual media. No, so it's just that's your background, but
It's my background, but if you think about it, film, media arts really covers a great deal, and the actually my background is significantly in the avant-garde of the late 20th century, which is a very small piece of action, but it crosses all the arts disciplines.
Oh,
So.
good. Fantastic.
Yeah, we have an underused resource here, which is I'm going to get this wrong, is the Studio 1623?
Yep.
Is that it?
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I was talking to some other people who were interested in working on this, and Laura is another one. But we have some resources here that we can network and develop that will support other organizations, which I think is part of the function of a local arts council. So the Essex County Community Foundation, which serves all of Essex County, has just created a cultural calendar. So it's yet to be seen how many people will check that, but that's one of the places where if we can help people list their activities, events, whatever they're doing, that it's the sort of thing that if you're looking for something, a certain thread, you want to see what is going on in theater or music, that you can, and you're coming to Cape Ann, that you could look there and find it in any one of the communities. Another is which let me see, Ann Robinson, who's already on the council, is also, I believe she's on the board, but she's also a producer. She also has been a fellow at the National Endowment for the Arts. She really knows her way around. So it's and I think that her skills are underused. Also, she is on the board at 1623.
Yeah.
And I would love to see people who come in. For example, the Local Arts Council is really just receiving a block grant from the Mass Cultural Council just now. It's about $4,000 a year, between $4,000 and $5,000. A lot of local arts councils also seek funds and actually are create projects. So they seek they're originators of activities, and I can see easily if we're interested, if we have the right people to and the right energy, that's something else that we can do.
I think it's what's nice is with the skill set that you have, that it's nice to see this board that I feel is vital to Rockport, and I really mean that, because we rely so heavily on the cultural aspect as far as the artists that we have in town, the music events that we have, just Rockport itself. People think art when they think Rockport, so it's nice to see that. Ruthie?
True.
No, I just thank you for stepping up to the
Thank
plate.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's it.
Yeah, right.
Everybody?
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
So same applies. You heard that we will wait till the next meeting and prepare to be getting to work very shortly.
You'll see the white smoke go up.
That's it, right?
Thank you.
That's all this is.
Yeah, I got that reference. That's good. All right, good. So we're going to keep going, and we are going to bring up David.
David?
Laurie is also here after, Mr. Chair.
Perfect, and we'll go right on. No, that's okay. It's not a problem. Not a problem.
Hi,
Hey, David, how are you?
good to see you. I'm David Whitley,
Good to see
4
you.
Curtis Street. I think I'll be relying on Christine's expertise if I'm on the board as well. What a great resume. Thank you for sharing all that. So my background is I started my professional career as a high school teacher. Taught English and drama, and did all the plays and directed all the plays in my high school in Nashville, Tennessee. And
How long did you teach for?
I taught for 5 years.
Yeah, good for you.
And then I transitioned from there to corporate training, and then now I've worked in healthcare, healthcare IT. I've been
And
here
then in
before
delicious food.
because my midlife crisis was opening a wonderful little restaurant called Studio Crepe.
Yeah.
I agree. Seconded.
I missed that place.
I
We
know,
do.
me too,
Yeah,
me
it's
too.
great.
So I met Laura there, and I had her family play a lot. Her kids, and she played And we really reached out to all the musicians and the artists, and anybody who wanted to participate in the to come and be there. And I really saw it as a cultural home. That's one of the things I really wanted to do. And so we had, I forget the name of the organization, it was a local organization, and they were giving out micro grants, and they held it in my back room. And so it was.
Was it awesome, Rockport?
Yes, that's exactly what it was. Yep. And then worked with the Exchange, who hosts the farmers market, and had it for the winter at the studio as well. So I love Rockport. Lived here for about 4 or 5 years now, and I just when the studio closed up, I needed to kind of lick my wounds. But then when Laura contacted me and said, we'd love to see you get active again, I said, absolutely. So this is a nice way for me to reach out and to participate if you'll have me.
That's awesome. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah,
That's
of
great.
course.
It's nice to see you back involved in things. And I get it. I tell you, Studio Crepe was awesome.
I know.
Yeah.
It
We
really
miss
was.
it.
It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, thank
Yeah,
you.
it
I
was a
appreciate
fantastic
that.
place.
I appreciate it.
But
Well,
now we've got you back again, so
Absolutely.
that's good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm
Absolutely.
glad to hear that.
Good.
Thank you.
all.
Anybody have anything for David?
No, thank you.
David,
Welcome
for
back.
all on this.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Thank
happy
you.
to.
That's great. All right, Laura, you're up.
Hello, I'm Laura Kozacek, and Chris kind of brought me into this idea, and it really grew on me. I'm a big fan of the Massachusetts Cultural Council. I think the work that they do is very important, and also the local wing of this, for us being the Rockport Cultural Council, I think can have a lot of possibilities to start to produce some seed money for people to get started with something that they might not otherwise be able to do, something new that an artist might be able to take a chance on. But of course, the whole idea is this is part of the community, and it also helps all of the people in Rockport. So I'm interested in that aspect of it. My own background is in music, and I also have some dance background that I keep in touch with a little bit and try to make use of here, specifically at Windhover. In the summer with the dance programs that go on there that are open to the public. And also now at Magma, there's a lot going on there too. That's a really important cultural hub. So I see what other organizations are doing, and I'd like to see how the flow for Rockport could be making use of riding the same waves in a way, and maybe correlating. So I would say that it's very easy for us to always think about art as what we have on the walls and preserving the visual arts, and that's important, of course. But I'd also like to have an opportunity to see what might go on as far as dance and drama. And of course, music is my love, and that's what I do. But I'm interested in exploring other possibilities for film and multimedia possibilities. So
I have 4 kids. If
That's
you
it.
want drama, come to my house. We'll start right there.
I have 2 teenagers,
Right? So you get it.
I go to
You
these meetings so
understand it.
people are nice to me.
Right?
So I guess that's about it. I didn't prepare anything lengthy to say about myself
No.
or my background. I have a degree in advanced degree in music, in music history specifically. I don't do a lot of that on a daily basis these days, but I do play instruments and teach, and I guess I could say that art education has always been one of the cornerstones of my children's education. So in addition to math and science, I've made sure that art and music have been sort of the other strong parts of what they have received over the years. So I'm sort of entrenched.
I don't think the degree is as important as the passion is. And obviously you have that. So it's great to see. So thank you.
Yeah, Laura has 2 wildly talented children who are just amazing musicians. It's shocking how good they are.
They practice.
Yes, I can imagine. I like all of what each of you has said, and building on what you were saying, Don. I'd really like to see Rockport continue to grow its arts economy. I know we have a strong one now, but I think, you know, we have Shaylin Liu and then, you know, the Rockport Art Association, but I think trying to find a way to thread it through the community so it's more vibrant and alive and accessible. And that's true to an extent. When you go to the high school senior performance at Shaylin Liu, it's amazing what these kids have accomplished in so few years. But I think it's great that you guys are doing this, and I really want to see us build, like Rocky Neck has, and you know, what they've done with the plein air contest, really build on our arts economy. I think that's going to become ever more important for us.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Sure. Ruthie?
Great.
No, I just want to, I mean, it's wonderful because you each bring a different perspective to it. And that's the key, because you all have such a passion for everything that you do. Bringing it all together, it's going to be so round and robust of things that could happen in Rockport, and bringing it all together, it's wonderful. Thank you all three for stepping
Yeah,
up.
thank you.
No, I'm good.
We're
Thank
good?
you.
Okay.
All right, we're going to go a little bit backwards right now, and I guess we'll go to the motion. We're good with that?
Yes, I move that the board nominate Laura Kazachek and Christine Downing for terms on the Rockport Culture.
And David?
And David,
David's a second, separate motion.
Separate motion.
okay.
David's a separate motion.
In terms of Rockport, terms on the Rockport Cultural Council to expire on June 30th, 2019.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? David, you get your own motion, so hang on one second. There we go. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Could be close,
Motion
David.
carries, right?
Could be close.
Right. This is a squeaker.
Yeah,
And I
it's
will.
election night.
That's right. Can somebody
Yeah, I'll do
make this
that. I
motion?
move that the board nominate David Whitley as a member of the Rockport Cultural Council for a term to expire on June 30th, 2020.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. You're in,
You're done.
right?
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank
everybody, for stepping up.
Thank
Thank
you
you. The
and welcome.
credentials are fantastic. This is one, this is going to go great places. So thank you.
Thanks.
Great.
Thank you, everyone.
There we go. All right. The next item we have is the DPW Commissioner's briefing, which is going to be postponed for this evening. So we're going to put that one off. And I'm sure we'll be rescheduling that for sometime soon. Mitch will let us know. Let's move on to the approval of minutes, August 14th, 2018.
I move that the selectmen approve the minutes of August 14, 2018.
Seconded.
Motion been made and seconded. Have everybody had a chance to review them? Any changes, additions, subtractions? Anything? Pictures we want to put in there? Any cartoon drawings, anything? We're good?
Yep.
Perfect. That's great. I was fine with everything. I read them through myself. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0. Let's now go to Selectmen updates and liaison reports. Who wants to lead out?
I will.
Go ahead.
I was lucky enough, once I got the reminder from Mitch, to join Mitch, Debbie Powers, and Paul for a visit to Straight Smith and Thatcher Islands.
Oh, yes.
And I just want to say,
I missed that. I'm so bummed
Oh
out.
my God, I had no
amazing out
idea.
I was away taking Gus and to school.
Well, you got to get out there.
Oh, I've been out there. I've been out there many
have you
times.
been recently?
Not recently.
Oh
Last
my goodness!
last
they've
year I went out.
Done so much work.
Yeah.
On
Especially
Straight Smith
Straight
as
Smith, yeah.
well. Yeah.
That's really where I want to go.
Yeah,
Straight Smith.
it's remarkable, the amount of work that these volunteers have put in, and the Boy Scouts, I understand, is really impressive. We're so lucky that we have such a active group of volunteers doing this work. It's beautiful. Both of them, spectacular. So I'm just grateful I got to go.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to have that as a liaison assignment for them. And
Oh.
I got to tell you, Sid runs a great meeting, and it's just and I've said this before, and I'll say it again because I think everybody should use them as a model. That they speak well together, they work together, they delegate well. I mean, it's really nice to see that. So that's
No,
great.
it's good.
Good. What else? You're busy. I know you have more than that.
The other thing I've been doing, and I have been very clear in my activity in this regard, until the board votes, I'm only acting on my own behalf. but working with Seaside Sustainability, with the Conservation Commission, the Board of Health, and the Bylaw Committee, in support of the articles. I forget I think it's Q and R or. Oh, okay, never mind. Article O, that seeks to ban the use of single-use plastic bags, straws, and coffee stirrers. And so I'll be attending the Board of Health after this meeting to speak to them in support of that, that article on the town meeting warrant.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you for doing that.
Ruthie?
Just been attending the DPW Commissioners meeting. I'm the liaison for that. It's going well. Very interesting. A lot of work is going on. Great committee to be on. Sorry they didn't present tonight, but we will at another time.
Yep.
Great
Great.
group.
Murph?
I had a great time, as Denise said, going out to Straitsmith Island and to Thatcher's Island. This is, I think, my third trip out there as a selectman. They do it about every other year. And it's really, it's phenomenal, especially as Denise correctly pointed out. The Straitsmith Island is just, the house that they redid is just amazing. And the fact that it does have access for the public is huge now that they're building that ramp, similar to Thatcher's Island. But the history, the guys that are all retired and which I'm going to be
My
soon
father-in-law is
someday.
one of them. Be
Yeah,
careful.
yeah. I mean, they just had such a great time, and they were so excited to show the three of us or four of us around. It was just really special. So,
That's great.
you know.
That's great. Anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
Oh, perfect. Well, my committee assignments are kind of sparse right now as far as when they meet. But one that I unfortunately, I haven't been to one. The last planning board meeting, I did call Herm and let him know that I couldn't make it because I forget what I had that night. But when I called Herm, he answered the phone and he sounded somewhat dismayed, and I couldn't figure out why. And I'm going, "We're good now. What's going on?" And then I realized he's in France. So that call probably cost him about $10. So my apologies to Herm and him taking the call.
I think he missed that meeting too.
Yeah, he missed that one too. You're right. So, but anyway, I called Ed Hand and I talked to Ed and I told him what was going on. But I'm looking forward to really diving into that and getting involved with that. But that's really all that I have. Again, I missed the Thatcher Island meeting, our tour in Straitsmith. I was taking Gus to college, my son, who's doing great out there, by the way. Yeah, doing fantastic. But anyway, that's what I have. So we're good. All right. Thank you. All right, moving along. Let's go to the action list and let's go to the appointment of John Cunningham as a member of the Rights of Way Committee.
I move that the board appoint John Cunningham to the Rights of Way Committee for a term to expire June 30th, 2021.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. We did this interview last time. This is just a formal vote to put him on the committee. And we're good to go. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0. Let's go to the approval of $4,000 withdrawal from the Conservation Fund.
I move that the Board of Selectmen approve the Conservation Commission's request to withdraw $4,000 from the Conservation Fund for specific items anticipated in fiscal year 19.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Anybody want to speak to this? Everybody knows what's going on with this,
Yeah.
correct?
Standard practice for us to
Standard.
withdraw this at the board's approval.
Perfect. So that's great. Please. I will. Let me just pull it up here. Okay, hang on, Toby, 1 second. I'll be happy to do that for you. 1 second. So I'm not misquoting anything.
Training.
Page 13, correct?
I gotta go back to the beginning.
Okay. We're off by $50 here, but I don't think that really matters, Mitch, right?
It's more of a not to exceed.
Not
So
so,
that's
okay,
fine.
good, okay. So Toby, reading verbatim is the yearly MACC environmental handbooks for each member and agent, 15 times 10 is $150. The yearly MACC training above budget for members, 110 times 14 is $1,500. Coast Sweep and Earth Day materials, which by the way is coming up pretty soon, September 17th, is it?
It's 15.
15th, I'm sorry, I knew it was one side of my birthday, which is the 16th. Keep that in mind. earthly materials, bags, signs, miscellaneous, that's $500. Miscellaneous materials for stewardship on town land, Woodland Acres, Sandpiper Overlook, that's $600. Am I going too fast for you? Am I going too, are you writing these down? I know you write everything down, okay. Trail markers for town trails, 450 times $1.09 each at $500. Miscellaneous office supplies not covered in budget, printer paper, toner ink, things of that nature, that's $200. And other items, RCC determined $500, which I'm sure will be elaborated on at the time.
Yes, they would vote at part of the commission to.
Perfect. Now, that total is $39.50, and the requested amount is not to exceed, as Mitch said, $4,000. Clarify? You're very welcome. Good, so we're all set on that one. Any other questions, anything we need? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0, and we have a special guest here with us this evening. We're almost there.
Okay.
That's okay. You want to pick it up? No, go ahead. Okay, well, we're almost there, so. Let's go to the approval of Millbrook Meadow Improvement Project's contract with Sumco in the amount of $421,100.
I move that the Board of Selectmen approve and sign an agreement with Sumco Eco Contracting of 2 Centennial Drive, Suite 4D, PBD, Mass, for the Millbrook Meadow Restoration Project in the amount of $421,100.
Seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded. Further discussion? Finally getting there. We're almost at the finish line here, so this is great. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. And you're here to vote on that. Did you vote?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion carries 5-0. We have a jump in the vote count right now, so we're good. You want to grab 77, or you want me to keep going here? It's up to you.
No, go ahead.
I want to be deferential to the chair.
You're good. Go
Okay,
ahead.
all right. Is there 77 Long Beach lease to reflect a change of address?
I move that the Board of Selectmen approve and sign a lease for 77 Long Beach with Ann T. Fox, M. Robert Fox, and Paula F. Niziak to reflect a change of address.
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded. Further discussion? Nope, pretty standard on this one. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. 5-0. Thank you. 61 Long Beach lease to reflect a change of address.
I move that the Board of Selectmen approve and sign a lease for 61 Long Beach with Alan R. Carb to reflect a change of address.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Another standard. Further discussion? Nope. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. And then we'll go to I'm gonna defer to you on this one, right? Which I don't mind taking it, but I think it's more appropriate that you take it.
Yeah,
All
thank
right?
you very much.
Yeah, it's okay.
Sorry I was late. I got stuck with a work issue at course 5:30.
Story of my life.
It is actually the story of your life.
Yeah.
It's not usually the story
Yeah,
of mine.
yeah.
You're right.
So, my apologies.
It's okay.
Okay, Mitch, it looks like you've done an awesome job getting our warrant stuff. Do you want me to turn over to you for a quick second?
Certainly, Madam Chair, I could walk you through it. So the board has up-to-date information in front of you. I've summarized the stances of the 3 other boards who opine on these particular matters.
Great.
I've also put in for the board to consider under BOS recommendation, once you choose to make your determination, suggested individuals, board member individuals assigned to those. I believe there are 3 apiece on here. Also included with this this cover sheet are the specifics on the prior year bills and the transfers to date.
Is it just one page?
It is, yes, I'm
Okay.
sorry, I'm not sure
No,
when
no,
I'll
that's
print it
okay. I
out.
just wanna make sure.
Yes,
Okay.
that
That's
one
great.
is.
That's super helpful.
So prior year bills are
Okay.
listed as well,
Okay.
and
And those, I mean, we have to pay. We have to pay.
we need to meet our obligations, certainly.
Okay.
And the transfers are listed on that second sheet.
Okay.
As always, there's the caveat that the transfers, we may add or subtract something,
Okay.
certainly until we go forward. If that does happen, we will, of course, let the board know at the next meeting prior, or of course, certainly at town meetings so that you're aware.
Okay.
So, with that, how would you like to go through?
Well, my question is, if we are so inclined to support all of them, could we make one motion?
You can.
Okay, so I think probably the best thing to do is to ask if there's anyone. Oh, sorry. There we go. I think probably the easiest thing to ask is, looking down A through P, are there any of these that anyone doesn't support? Because if that's the case, we'll pull them out. So for example, I actually support all of them. So I'm fine with them being linked as one. If people aren't, then we can pull those out and vote on them individually. So
I'm good on the slate.
I am too, I
You're
looked
okay
at it,
on
yeah.
slate?
I'm good on the
Also
slate.
okay on the slate. Ruth, okay.
I actually do have
It's okay.
one concern about one of the CPC projects.
Okay.
I don't know the number. It's the $25,000 for Davis Park. I got a letter from Betsy Carter, who has a master's in landscape design from Harvard, who attended the open meeting that the oh my God, thank you, Old Garden Beach Association had,
Yeah.
and raised some objections about what they were proposing that were very specific and sounded very reasonable to me. And she was basically dismissed, and it seems like they're going forward with this work without due consideration to the concerns that she raised, which I don't have a master's in landscape design
Yeah.
from Harvard, but it seemed reasonable to me.
So quick question. So they can't, what's the process? They can't just, the Old Garden Beach Association.
So I believe this is through DPW,
Okay.
Madam Chair.
is.
Let me just verify.
Okay,
Ruth
Denise,
would
do
know.
you-
It
what
is.
were the
So
concerns?
I can tell you, I can read her letter if you like. It's rather long, but
I would be good with a paraphrase. I trust you.
okay. Well, first of all, she's convinced that the new native plants that they're going to propose will not take hold within one growing season. So we had that experience with Sandpiper Park, where the plants that were planted there did not take hold and were destroyed. To survive oceanfront conditions and Davis Park's steep terrain, plants need to be deeply rooted and well established, but the new plants are unlikely to survive the next winter storms. And when they die, what will be left will be a further eroding hillside, rock rubble, and eventually ragweed. What is now a beautiful natural habitat will be an unattractive problem and probably a liability. Most of the current plants there are native plants tough enough to withstand the steep hill and oceanfront conditions. Let me just see.
So let me back up for 1 second.
Yeah.
I think we get the gist of her
Yeah.
concerns. So my question is, what's the process? You know,
I would
what's
defer to Selectman George.
right? So what? So,
Okay.
But it's more of a not a. It's actually not a CPC question. It's
Oh,
more of
okay.
a who controls Davis Park, for example.
Okay.
So
But it is on the warrant as $25,000 from the CPC to restore Davis Park.
Correct.
Sounds like it doesn't
Under the
need
direction of the
restoration.
Public Works Department. So it
Okay.
is
Okay.
a town-controlled project.
Okay.
So it's a town control project.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
It-
assume that
it's
there
a-
would be a public process after this. I mean, I'm hoping that it's not just one public meeting where
what-
like the plants are decided upon. Does that make
No.
sense?
Yeah.
And-
Because I also
If the
wouldn't
money's
want to.
allocated, then that's just the money being allocated. As far as how it's spent,
Right.
that's still open to public discussion,
Okay.
correct?
Yeah.
I'm,
don't know.
I'm asking, I'm not telling.
Yeah, unless it's to.
It is and it isn't. They have come before CPC. I can't remember their application exactly. They came before CPC. They wanted to put irrigation in, which was a major thing that I think they're looking at first. They want to get the irrigation stuff in so things don't die down there. And then they're going to look at plants. I don't think they were all gung-ho for plants right off the bat. Ms. Carter spoke at town meeting last year and was against Sandpiper Park and the viability of all the plants there. And that's where you speak. I mean, that's where the discussion is about asking them what they want. They will have someone there from Davis Park to talk about it, talk about the plants. And I'm not positive they were talking about specific plants right off the bat for Sandpiper.
So I wasn't there, but from what she reported to me, they had very specific list of plants that they
Yeah.
were going to plant.
So I think they might have, but I do think it has to go through
Okay.
the DPW because
Okay.
nothing can get planted there without, if it's, Davis Park is town-owned property.
It is.
Correct.
So nothing can get planted there without the town approving planting it. Does that
Okay.
make sense? And the proposal, I don't think includes like the specific list of plants, so I think it still has to go through.
And I think a lot of it was some of their money themselves, Davis Park, Old Garden Beach Association,
Yeah.
was putting in for some of the plants themselves. Old
Okay.
Garden Beach was paying for that.
Okay.
It wasn't all CPC money.
Yeah, no, and I know them down there, and I know they take great care in what they're doing, and if they're very aware, obviously, of the seaside conditions, so I have every faith that what they end up choosing in the end will work, but that doesn't negate the need for public input beforehand.
Yeah,
And-
so I think we could talk to the DPW
Okay.
about it to make
Okay.
sure that
Yeah.
her concerns are
Okay.
like
Fair
taken
enough.
really seriously, I
Yeah.
think.
And-
Just
and-
because I wouldn't want to, personally, I wouldn't want to not support the CPC stuff because of something like a small issue like that. Do you know what I mean? I think if we had a major problem with the whole project, but I think it sounds like something
Yeah.
specific that's going to have a public process after it. I think we can just
Yeah.
assure
And,
of that.
and I think it was also brought up about what happened at Sandpiper and how the erosion and the storms wiped a lot of the
Right.
things out.
Hopefully,
And,
yeah.
and hopefully they would think of that in this process, because the
Right.
same thing's going to happen over there.
Exactly, right. I
And
mean,
that
it's a
they-
little bit,
Right, and they
better,
had two
but-
meetings. They had two open meetings, I think, but they wanted to have more, and I think they will have more for the public to speak to about what's going to happen down there.
yeah.
Great.
So, are you our DPW person?
No.
No, I am.
With
So
the-
I'll talk to him
Oh,
about
so
it.
maybe Ruth could talk to
I'll
them.
talk to him about it tomorrow
I'll
night.
forward this to
So,
you.
Okay.
if you're
Yep.
comfortable just voting on it, we could vote, and then we have our we can always adjust before town meeting.
Okay, so
Do you know what I
let's make
mean?
sure we connect,
Yeah.
and I'll get Betsy in
Did-
touch
We
with
can
you.
totally adjust as we
Okay.
get more.
Okay.
We can definitely obviously adjust anything before town
Okay.
meeting.
All right.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
But, but that's great that she
That's
reached
my,
out to you.
yeah, my only
Yep.
concern.
Do you want to take Toby?
Did you have a question, Toby?
Piece of information, but the information being that, I attend DPW commissioner meetings regularly, and I can tell you that they don't go into the detail of what might or might not be planted at their meetings. They would take the word of whoever presented the project, just as they would for the mill road. I think it a mistake, but that's the way they operate.
Okay, that's fine. We'll take care of it from our end.
The other thing is, one of my neighbors told me, and this is hearsay and you can discount it, that it was her interpretation that they wished to turn it into their private park.
Okay, let's end it there. Let's end it there.
But
Okay,
I want to
moving on.
ask a question.
What's the question? And I hope it has something to do with that comment.
Yes, going on from that.
Yeah, there's no parking at Davis Park. There's parking in the Old Garden Beach parking lot.
Okay, and the parking is not going to be diminished by whatever they're doing?
No, it's not even, no.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Any other question? No?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So would someone like to make a motion to support all of the articles?
I'll make a motion
Great.
to support, in support of Article, I move that the Board of Selectmen support Articles A through P on
Great.
the fall town meeting warrant.
Second?
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, we're good.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries.
Good.
Great.
Thank you. And is everybody comfortable with the suggested assignments?
Oh, so want me to just run down them really quick?
Mhm.
Prior year bills, Selectman Campbell, budget transfers, me, CPC Ruth, all CPC Ruth, collective bargaining, no motion, alcohol licenses, me, zoning bylaws, Don, zoning bylaw permitted uses, Paul,
Mm-hmm.
zoning bylaw, J, Denise, zoning bylaw, K, Don, fences, Paul, L, residential dwellings, me, and zoning bylaw, Denise, single-use plastic bags, Denise, and school bus funding transfer, Paul. Everyone
Perfect.
understand? Okay.
Works for me.
Fine. Great.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Is that it?
That is, I think the only other thing is maybe
Oh, any
we-
other business or announcements?
Right. The only thing I would say is just a reminder for everybody about town meeting, if you want to.
Right, yeah. Saturday, oh, no, Saturday, my God.
Bite your tongue.
Right?
Although I
September
wanted Saturday, I
17th.
lost on
I know
that
you
one,
did,
too.
you lost.
Yeah.
September 17th, Monday, it's Monday, 6 PM?
Seven.
7 PM? 7 PM.
6 in the library for us. About 6:15.
Most likely 6 or 6:30, I would say.
6 or
Probably
6:30?
6:30.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, right, because we might just have one or two small things.
Yes, and the board is meeting next week, and we'll have the usual pre-town meeting walkthrough at that
Great.
next meeting.
Perfect. That's
And
great.
Can you explain what these are? I know what they are, but.
The police department is taking part in Project Pink Patch.
Becca,
So-
can you zoom in on these?
All of the officers will be wearing these patches during the month of October for breast cancer awareness.
Just
So
the
they're-
month of October.
Correct. That's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Many departments around the state are taking part, so it's great to see Rockport doing that. So the chief had those patches printed, and they're being distributed to all of the officers.
Great.
Perfect. Thank you. I think it's great.
Can I just get on my soapbox for 1 minute about this? I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. I see the kids at my school wearing the pink socks and things of that nature. You see it in the NFL. You see it all across the country in October. And it's very well funded, breast cancer research and things of that nature. But what isn't funded, and which is mental illness. And you see that there's so many people suffer from it. I would love to see something like this for mental illness. This is just my personal opinion.
I agree.
And this, I think it's great that our poor police are doing this, and the schools and all that stuff. But the mental illness is so underfunded in this country.
Absolutely.
And, we don't have walks and things of that nature for it because it's probably because of the stigma that's involved. But hopefully we're going to get better on this. And this has nothing to do with the police. I think it's wonderful. But I would love to see more awareness for mental illness. Because I see it every day in school, every day. And the amount of kids that are suffering at the high school, at all our high schools, it's pretty alarming. That's it. That's me.
Good job.
And we have a meeting next week. Yes.
Yes.
Great.
After
Okay.
town meeting?
What?
Before.
Before.
Yeah.
But yes, exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We're all still like summer mode.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll
Second?
make a motion to adjourn.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.